Hey, this is RelaNarkin, and this is the tutorial video for my card game for PrequelMemes. Anyway, I don't usually make videos and stuff, so my mic is obviously terrible. So just bear with me. Anyway, I highly suggest that you read through the written manual, which I've linked in the description, before you watch this video. I'm probably going to be covering some stuff that was stated in the manual, but most of the stuff you're watching here is going to be like a visual representation of the gameplay and how to manifest those actions within Tabletop Simulator. And also make sure you've purchased that on Steam, because obviously you're going to need that to use this. I don't know why I need to mention that. Anyway, let's get started. So I have made it's called a mod for Tabletop Simulator, which I've also linked in the description. So once you download that, you should be able to access that here. You are probably going to be wanting to host the game to play with other people. I don't know why you'd want to play by yourself. Anyway, you should just be able to host a server and then open up the game within that. But I'm going to just be doing single player, so ignore that. So while it loads, okay, so just find the game within all of your other games and then hit that and it'll set it up for you. Okay, so it just needs to load assets. And I've already put all of the Darth Plagueis cards where they need to be, so you don't need to worry about a lot of that stuff. I'm going to be doing a two-player game, just as an example for you guys. Okay, so now I'm going to go over some of the main controls for Tabletop Simulator. This doesn't have anything to do with the card game. So if you already know all of these, you can just click the annotation I've put right here to skip once I'm done with that. Okay, so to start things off, you're going to have a hand. First, you got to choose a color. So I put 4 colors, 1 for each little area. So I'm going to be purple. And then you get a little hand right here. So there's some cards in my hand. It'll show up right here, or it can be right there. You can interact with them interchangeably. So I could drag from here, and it would do that. And your hand is basically a zone for you to put cards and not have them visible to other players. If you don't have a zone yet, it's probably because you haven't selected a color like I just did. And you can do that if the host owner gives you permissions. So let them know to do that, or if you're the host. Next thing is object manipulation. In the case of decks, you can just hold down and then drag an entire deck. Or you can quickly swipe to pull off a single card. So yeah, so make sure to hold down if you're moving a bunch of objects. You can also select by doing that, and that'll let you manipulate a bunch of stuff. Let's get that back. Okay, so I'm just going to take one card for some examples. You can hit F to flip the card. So that's pretty simple. You can select multiple things and then hit G, and that groups them together into one stack. This is, I think it's just for cards. You can also do it with other stuff, but yeah, it's basically just with cards. Okay, also you can rotate using Q and E. The number of degrees that it's going to turn is going to depend on what you have set right here. So you just click it. You want to put it on 90 because deploying is going to, in the game, deploying is going to be just rotating at 90 degrees. Okay, R will be shuffling the deck. So just hit R and it shuffles it. You don't need to spam it or anything. It can also be for rolling the dice. In the game, you're never going to be rolling the dice. just, I guess, in the beginning to see who goes first, but that's about it. You can hit a number on dice and it'll turn it to that side, so I'm going to hit 3. And you can do the same thing for decks, but when you hit the number, it gives you that many cards. So if I hit 5, I would get 5 cards in my hand. It's a little confusing with the, yeah. So here I'm going to do a little example. So pull out, and then I can hit G, so that all puts it in one stack. And then F flips it, and then drop it on top, and hit R to shuffle. So pretty straightforward if you know what you're doing. You can use Alt to peek at cards that are kind of far away from you. So if I want to do that, I can look at it like that and read it. Say I had a card that said I should take 2 cards from the top and then choose one. I'm not going to want to put it into my hand because then the opponent's not going to know if I'm like choosing a random card that has nothing to do with what I drew. So I just put them out here, and then you can hit Alt plus the Shift key to look at the back. There are a couple other keys that might be useful, but I'll cover those when we get to them. Until then, I'm just going to be assuming that you understand these key bindings. Therefore, you should probably rewind and rewatch this segment if you're still unsure. So anyway, let's get started. Okay, so to start the game, you're going to roll the dice and see who goes first. I'm not going to worry about that right now because I've got this little representation set up. So just pretend I got the higher number. Yeah. And after you roll it, just put it right here in the corner of your little game area. Okay, now I'm going to go over a basic turn in-game, along with some different scenarios you may encounter. You should choose your token first thing first, and then just put it on 1. So I'm going first. I'm going to draw a card, but I'm not going to really... Yeah, let's just ignore it for now. Pretend I have it in my hand, but for this example, I'm not going to use it. Anyway, in my hand I have 2 comments. So, Night Sister Magic and Not Clear. I have 1 reply, which is Your New Empire, and then 1 edit, which is Sheep. Okay, so I'm not going to be using my reply this turn because the condition states that I can only use it when an opponent plays an OC from their hand. So I'm not going to be able to play that this turn because there's no way they would be able to actually play an OC. So you don't have to worry about that until it's someone else's turn, and then just keep an eye out for it in case the condition is met. Anyway, so let's look at the other options. Night Sister Magic is a pretty common card in the deck, and will save you in tough situations and a bad hand. I suggest waiting until you have until you just simply can't do anything else before you play the card. So maybe not use it first thing, in case you have like just a really crappy hand. If you're aiming to win by decking out, then this card is probably going to be your friend. It's also pretty good just to get another card, I guess. I don't know. It discards a bunch of cards, so it's also good to get some of the better OP cards like out of the deck, so your opponent can't get them. But obviously you wouldn't be able to get them either, so whatever floats your boat, I guess. But since it's the only comment that we really have, except for Night Sister Magic, we should probably go ahead and use this one. We're probably just going to save this till next turn. So let's go ahead and play that, and then, yeah, just discard 10 cards. It's kind of tedious, but... 3... Where was that? 2... 3... 4... No. If any of you know a quicker way to do this, that would probably help. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 10. And then just draw one card. Okay. So let's also not worry about this one for now, because, again, not in the example. Okay, so next up we have this card, which is really good if you have more than one OC. We only have one right now, but it's always great to get these out because they can stack up in your pocketbook and not take up any more spaces. If you want to pause and read the card, then go right ahead. But for now, let's just get that extra karma from this OC. So deploy it, and then we would add 1 to it. So now we have 4. And then we have enough to play this. So let's go ahead and play that, put it down in the pocketbook. And then since it's 0, we can't really represent that with dice, so you just move it off the board, like right here. And then we can just put it back on when we have karma. So we can't play another comment because we played not clear. So we essentially should just end our turn. So to represent that, just ready your OC that you've deployed, or OC plural. I don't know how you would. Anyway, okay, just do that, and then your opponent should know that it's their turn. Okay, now I'm going to be playing as the next player. First, I'm going to draw my card. Actually, here, I'm going to use this one over here, even though it's technically in their hand, but whatever. It's good for the example. So just pretend I drew that from the deck. Pretend this is the original person over here. And then this will be my token. And then whenever you level up, you can just move it up. So let's look at the cards we have. We have a bunch of comments. We have 4 comments right now and 1 OC. Resurrection. It's like Night Sister Magic, except you have to discard your hand with this one, but you get an extra card. So that's really good. But again, we should probably save that till next turn, because right now we have a bunch of options. Okay, so we have, now this is pod racing, which gets us 2 levels. We have hot, which gets us 3 karma, and then we have upvote, which gets us 1 karma. The thing with upvote, though, is it has always on the move on it, which means we can play it and still be able to play another comment during the same turn. So we should definitely just get that out there. There's no harm in playing it. Boom. We can give ourselves 4 karma. Okay, so we don't have anything else that's going to be using karma. So we could just put this OC out there, and then instead of deploying Darth Plagueis, which would take up our only deploy this turn, we could put this out there, spend the 4 karma, and then go ahead and deploy this, which gets us 2 karma. And change that to 2. Okay. Okay, switching back to this person's perspective, they just played NOC, so we can maybe use this. The condition is when they play an OC, so let's take a look. Take and play that OC as your own, and then pay the player karma equaling half, blah blah blah. So right away we can't actually do it because we have no karma right now, which means we can't pay them. So that's not going to work, but I just wanted to let you know that you should always be looking out. Okay, so back over here, we're going to be choosing which one we want to use. We can only use one of them, so we got to find out which one's going to give us the biggest benefit. 2 levels is going to cost 7 karma if you wanted to gain that in 1 turn, or 6 karma if you separated it by 1 turn. So we probably want to play that. It's kind of the obvious choice. It's not like you're going to get the karma, but you might as well go and do it. So do that, and then move your token up 2 spaces. There you go. And that's all I'm going to do for like turns. I guess to end it, just do that, and then it would go back to them. But now I'm just going to show you some examples of cards that have confusing mechanics to them and just sort of clarify what that means. Okay, this card has like an unpublished rule that I didn't put in the manual, just because it's really specific, but you are not allowed to use this on Darth Plagueis. It makes it cost 1 karma to deploy the OC, so if you play that on the first turn, they're never going to be able to get that karma unless they get a comment or something. It's just too risky. Anyway, to use it, just put it like slightly in the corner like that. Not like that. Make sure it doesn't stack on top. Just put it like right there and then hit U. That puts it underneath. Okay, and this brings us to the other card we have. This one, I didn't know if it was confusing, but I just wanted to show an example of how you could use it. So it says you can take any card in play on your field and put it back in your hand. So say someone played this on my OC, so I definitely want to get rid of that. So I could use this to go ahead and put that into my hand, like that. So even though they played it onto my field, I can use this and grab it. But I could also use this to like take one of my OC and put it back in my hand for whatever reason. I don't know why you would want to do that, but you can. So okay, these two cards are going to utilize the Shift-Alt-Peek option. So I just wanted to show an example of how you would do that. So with Banking Clan Memes, each turn instead of drawing a card, you're going to take the top 2. Don't put them into your hand. Just lay them out in front of you, and then do Alt plus Shift to look at them. Your opponent can't see it. It's just a way for you to make it clear you're not putting them into your hand and switching them out with other cards. So just do that, and then you can choose one, put it in your hand, and then I think discard the other one. Is that what it is? Yeah, just discard the other one. And then this one, same thing, but you just look at the top one, Alt Shift, and you can choose to put it on the bottom, or other way around. So if you were doing it on the bottom, just like that. Easy enough. Okay, for this one, the whole deploy count thing can be kind of confusing. So let me show you an example. So say you have a deploy count of 1, and you've already deployed an OC, so you have no deploys left in your turn. You can play this card, and then it allows you to deploy another one or redeploy one of yours. So in this case, you're going to want to redeploy the garrison because it gives you 2 karma when this one only gives you 1. So you just play it and then just redeploy it. And it doesn't factor into your deploy count, so you don't need to worry about that at all. So yeah. And then lastly, this one can be tricky. I don't know how to describe it. Anyway, it says to discard Darth Plagueis when you play it, but really you're just going to want to move Darth Plagueis off the table. You can just hit delete, I guess, if you wanted to. I just don't want it to go back into the deck or discard pile, because if someone gets that in their hand, there's no way for you to play it. Just, again, tricky. So that's it. I know it was a messy video. I'm new to Tabletop. I'm new to making videos. I just thought it'd be easier to give a visual instead of reading a manual. I know my voice isn't exactly, yeah. Anyway, pretty messy, but you get the point. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. Just all that stuff. I'm not going to ask for likes or anything because I don't do YouTube. Don't expect any more videos. Anyway, have a good one.